In today's world, love is often loud. It's flaunted through grand gestures, flashy dates, and carefully curated social media posts. But true emotional connection, the kind that makes your soul feel seen, held, and safe, rarely announces itself with noise. It lives in the quiet, in the spaces between words, in subtle actions, long silences, and the gentle presence of someone who just gets you. When a man is emotionally invested in you on a soul level, you don't always hear it, you feel it. This isn't about cliches or over-the-top romance. It's about the quiet moments when his heart speaks louder than his mouth ever could. It's the way he notices your mood before you've said a word, or the way he remembers a detail you mentioned only once. Because he wasn't just listening, he was absorbing. These aren't random acts of kindness. They are intentional, soul-driven reflections of care, depth, and intimacy. A man who's connecting with you on a deeper level doesn't always say, "I love you" out loud. But he says it in the way he holds your hand when you're falling apart. He says it in how he creates space for your silence, honors your growth, and shows up when it matters most, even when it's not convenient. His love doesn't seek attention. It seeks understanding. Too often, we look for love in obvious places, in gifts, in constant texts, in compliments. But the signs of a soul-level connection are often soft, hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. That's where emotional intimacy quietly blooms, through presence, consistency, and a kind of emotional fluency that can't be faked. If you've ever wondered whether a man truly feels you, not just loves you, but resonates with you, holds space for you, and connects with your soul, look beyond the words. Look for the little things. Because love isn't always loud. Sometimes, love is silent, but real, and unmistakably deep. Here are 15 subtle, powerful signs that a man is trying to connect with you on a soul level, even if he's never said it out loud. 1. He listens deeply, even to what you don't say. When a man listens deeply, even to what you don't say, it means he's tuned into your emotional world, not just your words. He pays attention to the pauses, the sighs, the shifts in your tone, and the expressions on your face. He notices when you say, "I'm fine," but your eyes look tired, or when your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes. He doesn't interrupt or rush to respond. Instead, he allows space for you to unfold at your own pace. This kind of listening is not passive. It's presence in its purest form. It's the way he leans in slightly when you speak, how he looks at you with a softness that says, "I'm here. I see you." It's in the way he picks up on your needs before you voice them. If you're having a hard day and don't want to talk, he'll sit beside you quietly, maybe offering your favorite snack or putting on a show you love, not to fix things, but to let you know he understands. He doesn't just hear your stories, he absorbs your meaning. He remembers the things that matter to you, even if you mention them once in passing. He's not listening for his turn to speak. He's listening to connect. He's not trying to win points or gain favor. He's trying to feel your soul, to walk beside your emotions and hold space for your truth. When a man listens like that, it's not just about affection, it's about alignment. It shows he's trying to meet you where you are, beyond the surface, in that quiet space where real connection lives. It's there, in that silence he chooses to respect, that love begins to feel safe. 2. He remembers the little things you thought he'd forget. When a man remembers the little things you thought he'd forget, it's a quiet but powerful sign that he's emotionally invested. He's not just paying attention, he's cherishing your words, your quirks, your moments. You might casually mention your favorite childhood snack, the name of your first pet, or that one book that made you cry. And weeks later, he surprises you by bringing it up, or even acting on it. Not because you reminded him, but because he was truly listening the first time. This kind of memory isn't rooted in obligation. It's born from care. He stores these details like treasures, not tasks. You might mention you have an important meeting coming up, and on that morning, he wishes you good luck without being prompted. Or you might once say you hate loud restaurants, and he'll instinctively choose somewhere quiet for your next dinner out. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the subtle ways he shows he's been paying attention to what matters to you. Your preferences, fears, joys, and routines stay with him because he values more than just your presence. He values your essence. These remembered moments build trust. They whisper, "You matter to me. I see you. I hear you." And even if he doesn't say it aloud, those small memories reveal something deeper. He's not just with you. He's connected to you. Soulfully, intentionally, and quietly. 3. His eyes soften when they meet yours. When his eyes soften the moment they meet yours, it's a reflection of something deeper than attraction. It's emotional connection. Eyes often reveal what words can't. And in that brief exchange, there's a quiet tenderness that says, "You matter to me." It's not just a glance. It's a pause. A gentle melting of tension in his face. His gaze slows down, becomes warmer, more open, as if just looking at you eases something inside him. This softening isn't forced or practiced. It happens instinctively when he sees you, whether you're dressed up or just being your natural self. There's no judgment or expectation in that look. Only recognition, comfort, presence. You may catch him looking at you that way when you're not speaking, or while you're lost in thought. And in those moments, he's not looking at you to analyze or assess. He's simply taking you in, quietly moved by your presence. Sometimes he may not even realize he's doing it, but you will, because that kind of gaze doesn't just touch the skin, it reaches your spirit. It tells you he's not just observing your face, he's emotionally responding to it, to your being. When a man's eyes soften like that, it's a silent surrender, a way of letting you know he feels something genuine. It's not about control or charm. It's about vulnerability, openness, and a kind of wordless honesty. In that moment, you're not just seen, you're felt. And that, more than anything, is a sign he's connecting with you on a soul level. 4. He shares his childhood memories without fear. When a man shares his childhood memories without fear, it's a rare and vulnerable offering, one that reveals how safe he feels with you. Most people guard those early memories closely, especially the ones shaped by pain, confusion, or longing. So when he opens up about them freely, whether it's a funny story about a school mishap or something deeper, like feeling forgotten or misunderstood as a child, it means he's letting you into the very roots of who he is. He's not just telling you stories to entertain. He's slowly peeling back the layers of himself, revealing the moments that shaped his personality, his fears, and even his love language. This kind of openness isn't casual. It's courageous. It shows he trusts you enough to bring his past into the present, hoping you'll not just hear him, but understand him. You might notice his voice shift when he speaks about certain memories, softer, more reflective. He may even hesitate, testing the emotional water before diving in fully. And when you meet that vulnerability with empathy instead of judgment, it strengthens the bond between you two in ways that surface conversations never could. By sharing his childhood without fear, his saying, "I want you to know the full version of me," is offering access to the unfiltered parts of his life, the innocent, the bruised, the proud, because he wants connection, not just company. It's not about nostalgia. It's about emotional intimacy. And when he feels safe enough to hand you the map to his youngest self, it's a silent declaration, "I trust you with my heart's history." 5. He wants to understand your pain, not just fix it. When a man wants to understand your pain instead of rushing to fix it, it shows he values your emotions, not just your comfort. It's easy for someone to throw solutions at a problem and move on, but it takes depth and care to sit with your sorrow, listen without interruption, and ask, "What do you need from me right now?" That's not problem solving. That's soul connection. He doesn't dismiss your feelings as overreacting, and he doesn't get uncomfortable when you cry. Instead, he stays. He listens. He tries to feel what you're going through. Even if he can't relate directly, he makes an effort to understand the shape of your pain. Not to fix it, but to be present inside it with you. This kind of support is rare. It means he's not trying to be the hero. He's trying to be a partner. He knows your wounds aren't puzzles to solve, but stories to hold. He might offer comfort, not advice. A hand to hold, not a step-by-step plan. And in doing so, he shows emotional maturity, a man who sees your pain not as a problem, but as a part of your truth. When he asks gentle questions, gives you space to breathe, or simply says, "I'm here," without trying to rush you through your healing, he's giving you more than support. He's giving you his presence. And that presence says, "Your feelings matter to me. I don't need to fix you. I just want to understand you." That is the kind of love that sees not just the surface, but the soul beneath. 6. He talks about future dreams and includes you. When a man talks about his future dreams and includes you in them, it's a strong, unspoken declaration that he sees you as part of his long-term life. It's not just about saying, "We should go on a trip someday." It's about quietly weaving your presence into his plans, saying when we have a place, or if we ever move, or when our kids ask. These words may sound casual, but they are deeply intentional. They reveal how he envisions his life unfolding, and more importantly, who he wants by his side. He might mention goals like buying a home, changing careers, or traveling the world. But the meaningful part is how you're always in the frame. Even when he speaks hypothetically, his tone softens when it involves you. It's not about showing off ambition. It's about quietly offering you a seat at the table of his future. This kind of dreaming is sacred because dreams are vulnerable. They hold hope, risk, and the most personal parts of our inner world. So when he opens that door and places you inside those images, he's revealing trust. He's not just sharing a wish. He's planting a seed for something real. And he doesn't need a big moment to do it. It might happen while you're watching a movie, walking at night, or just lying beside each other. That's the beauty of it. It's natural, unforced. He's not planning to impress you. He's simply speaking his heart. And in that heart, you're already home. When a man includes you in his dreams without needing to make a scene of it, it means he sees you not just in his now, but in his next. And that kind of quiet vision is one of the most powerful signs of a soul-level connection. 7. He notices your moods before you speak. When a man notices your moods before you even say a word, it shows he's emotionally in sync with you, attuned not just to your presence, but to your energy. He doesn't need you to cry, frown, or explain. He senses the shift, the subtle pause in your movements, the way you hold your breath a little longer, the slight change in your tone or expression. And without asking for proof, he understands that something inside you feels different. He might gently ask, "Rough day," or quietly offer a blanket, a snack, or just his presence. Not to interrogate you, but to say, "I see you. I feel you." That awareness doesn't come from control. It comes from care. It means he's paying attention when you think no one is. He's watching how your eyes move, how your silence lingers, how your shoulders hold tension. These are the details most people miss, but he doesn't. This kind of noticing builds emotional safety. It makes you feel less alone in moments when you don't have the words. You begin to realize you don't have to explain yourself for him to stay close. He senses when you're withdrawing or when you need space, and instead of pushing, he adjusts gently, staying near without invading. When a man can pick up on your emotional weather without a forecast, it shows he's not just looking at you, he's feeling with you. That sensitivity is a quiet kind of love, one that doesn't ask for recognition but leaves a lasting impact. It says, "I care enough to know you, even in silence." And that is connection beyond words. 8. He shows up in moments that matter emotionally. When a man shows up in moments that matter emotionally, he's not just proving loyalty, he's demonstrating emotional presence. It means he's in not only during the big milestones but also during the quiet, heavy, or deeply personal moments that others might overlook. He doesn't wait to be asked. He senses when your heart needs support, and he chooses to be there, fully. It's in the way he shows up when you're overwhelmed, grieving, anxious, or unsure. He doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. Instead, he leans in, gently, calmly, without pressure. Maybe it's holding your hand at a hospital visit. Maybe it's standing silently beside you when you receive bad news. Or maybe it's just checking in after a long, draining day, not out of obligation, but because your emotional world matters to him. This kind of presence isn't loud or performative. It's quiet but deeply felt. He might not always know the perfect thing to say, but he knows the importance of just being there, being a safe space, a steady presence. And when someone shows up like that, consistently and without condition, it builds something sacred, trust. You begin to realize he's not just around for the laughter and light. He's willing to weather the storms, too, without turning the focus to himself. His presence becomes a kind of emotional anchor, one that doesn't demand anything but offers everything. In a world full of distractions and distance, a man who chooses to show up, not just physically, but emotionally, is revealing the depth of his bond with you. Is saying, without words, I won't run from your feelings. I'll meet you in them. And that is the quiet strength of soul-level love. 9. He opens up about his insecurities. When a man opens up about his insecurities, he's letting you see the most unguarded parts of himself, the parts he usually hides from the world. Insecurities aren't easy to admit. They are often tied to shame, past wounds, or deep fears of not being enough. So when he shares them with you, it's not because he's weak, it's because he trusts you enough to hold his truth gently. He may confess that he worries about failing, about not being able to meet expectations, or about not being loved the way he longs to be. And in doing so, he's giving you something sacred, his vulnerability. This kind of openness isn't about seeking pity or reassurance. It's about inviting you into his inner world and saying, this is me, not just the strong version, but the real one. Sometimes his insecurities come out in quiet confessions, maybe during a late-night talk, after a long silence, or in response to something you said that touched a nerve. He might pause before speaking, unsure of how it'll land. But when he finally lets the words fall, he's showing you the scars behind the strength. And when you respond with understanding, not judgment, that space between you softens. That's when real emotional intimacy takes root. He begins to feel seen, not just admired. Understood, not just tolerated. A man who opens up about his insecurities isn't looking to be saved. He's seeking connection, the kind built on truth, not performance. And when he chooses to reveal what scares him, he's not just showing vulnerability, he's showing love. Because in his quietest fears, he's letting you in, not to fix him, but simply to know him. And that's the deepest kind of emotional trust. 10. He asks questions that go beyond surface talk. When a man asks questions that go beyond surface talk, he's seeking more than conversation. He's seeking connection. Small talk has its place, but when he gently steers the discussion toward your beliefs, your fears, your childhood, your dreams, it reveals a genuine desire to know you, not just date you, but understand you at your core. He's not asking how your day was just to be polite. He wants to know what made it hard, what made you smile, what stayed on your mind after everyone else stopped noticing. He may ask, what do you wish people saw in you more? Or what was something you needed growing up that you never got? These aren't random questions. They are windows, and is inviting you to open them. This depth doesn't mean he's perfect or always emotionally articulate. It means he's curious about who you are beneath your answers. He listens not just for facts but for feelings. Not just for what you say, but for what matters to you. It's in those thoughtful pauses, the follow-up questions, the way he stays present and doesn't rush you through your own story. When he asks these things, he's offering emotional space, a kind of permission for you to exist fully, without filter. And when you respond with honesty, that space between you expands. It becomes safer, more sacred. A man who asks deeply personal, soul-level questions isn't trying to impress you. He's trying to build something real with you. And in a world full of distractions and shallow words, this kind of intentional inquiry is a powerful form of intimacy. It says, I don't just want to be in your life. I want to live in your truth. 11. He respects your silence and honors your space. When a man respects your silence and honors your space, he's showing emotional wisdom and deep care, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that understands presence doesn't always require noise. He doesn't pressure you to speak when you're not ready, or take your quiet moments personally. Instead, he stays steady beside you, offering calm rather than correction. He knows that sometimes you need to process before you share. or simply breathe without explaining why. He doesn't rush you out of your stillness. He gives you room to be. Whether you're overwhelmed, tired, or lost in thought, he doesn't try to fill the silence with advice or distractions. He respects it because he respects you. And honoring your space doesn't mean stepping away out of distance. It means being close without crowding. It's when he texts, "I'm here if you need me," instead of asking, "Why aren't you talking?" It's when he senses that your quiet isn't rejection, it's restoration. And instead of fearing it, he holds it gently. This kind of emotional restraint takes maturity. It means he isn't trying to control your emotions or solve your solitude. He's simply making it clear, you don't have to perform for me. I accept your stillness, just like I celebrate your joy. In honoring your silence and space, he's showing that love doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just waits, quietly, respectfully, patiently. And in that patience, something beautiful unfolds. Trust. Because when someone lets you exist freely, in whatever emotional state you're in, that's when your soul feels safest. 12. He supports your growth, even when it's hard for him. When a man supports your growth, even when it's hard for him, it reveals a rare kind of love, one that's selfless, deep, and quietly brave. Growth often means change. It can shift priorities, schedules, and emotional dynamics. And yet, he doesn't hold you back. Even if your journey challenges his comfort zone, he steps aside and lets you rise. He may not always understand the full picture of your dreams, but he respects them. He cheers for your new job, your passion project, your healing, or your decision to set boundaries, even if it means he has to adapt. That kind of support doesn't always look like big speeches. Sometimes it's as quiet as letting you study late instead of demanding time, or encouraging you to take a risk even when he fears the outcome. There might be moments when your evolution creates emotional distance, or forces him to confront his own insecurities. And still, he chooses to root for you. Not because it's easy, but because he knows real love doesn't compete with your growth. It makes room for it. He doesn't say, "Why are you changing?" He says, "How can I walk with you through it?" That willingness to stand beside you through transformation, even when it reshapes the relationship, is proof that his love is not possessive, it's generous. It means he values who you're becoming, not just who you've been. And when you look back on those moments of stretching, striving, or breaking through, you'll remember not just what you achieved, but the quiet strength of someone who believed in you enough to let go of his own fear. That's soul-level connection, love that supports, even when it trembles. 18. He mirrors your energy with emotional presence. When a man mirrors your energy with emotional presence, he's not just reacting, he's tuning in. It means he's paying close attention to how you're feeling and meeting you there with empathy, not ego. If you're joyful, he celebrates without overshadowing. If you're low, he quiets himself and leans into your mood, offering comfort without demanding explanation. He reflects what you need, not to imitate, but to connect. This mirroring isn't about copying your behavior. It's about aligning with your emotional rhythm in real time. He adjusts his tone, pace, and attention based on what your spirit is communicating. If you need laughter, he brings warmth. If you need silence, he respects stillness. He doesn't force a vibe that doesn't match the moment, because he's not there for performance. He's there for you. Sometimes it's subtle. The way he lowers his voice when you're overwhelmed. The way he slows down his words when you're anxious. The way he listens without interrupting when you're sorting through something messy. These little shifts are not random. They're signs that he's emotionally present, fully aware of the space you're in. When a man meets you with that kind of presence, it creates safety. You don't have to explain every emotion. You don't have to justify your energy. He simply senses it and responds with care. And that response tells you something powerful. I see where you are, and I'm not here to change it. I'm here to honor it. In a world where so many rush to fix, control, or ignore, a man who mirrors your energy with grace and depth is quietly saying, "You're not alone in this moment. I'm with you, fully, gently, and without condition." That's emotional intimacy in its purest form. 14. He holds your hand when words aren't enough. When a man holds your hand in moments when words fall short, he's offering something deeper than language, presence. In that quiet gesture, he's saying, I'm here. I feel this with you. There's no pressure to explain, no expectation for perfect sentences. Just skin to skin, stillness to stillness, and a silent exchange of comfort that speaks volumes. Whether you're grieving, overwhelmed, or sitting in a heavy silence, that simple touch becomes a lifeline. He's not trying to distract you from the emotion. He's choosing to sit in it with you. Holding your hand becomes his way of anchoring you when your world feels unsteady. It's not about control or fixing the moment. It's about staying in it with you, quietly and fully. Sometimes he doesn't know what to say, and is wise enough to know that's okay. Instead, he reaches for you, offering warmth, steadiness, and a soft kind of solidarity. It's the kind of connection that doesn't beg for attention, but rather says, you don't have to go through this alone. In joyful moments, too, that same hand-holding shifts from comfort to celebration. It becomes a grounding gesture in laughter, in love, in shared dreams. It tells you, I'm walking this with you. I choose to hold on. When he holds your hand like that, not out of habit, not out of duty, but because words would only lessen what you're both feeling, it's one of the most intimate forms of emotional presence. It means his heart isn't just with you. It's reaching for yours, gently, in silence, and with full sincerity. 15. He makes you feel seen, not just loved. When a man makes you feel seen, not just loved, he's recognizing the essence of who you are, beyond roles, labels, or appearances. Love can sometimes be generalized, sweet gestures, kind words, romantic efforts. But being seen means he notices the things others miss. The quiet strength behind your smile, the hesitation before you speak, the dreams you don't always say out loud. He doesn't just admire you, he understands you. It's in the way he looks at you when you're not trying to impress anyone. In sweatpants, in silence, in moments when you don't feel your best. And yet, he treats those versions of you with the same care and reverence. Because to him, you're not just someone to love, you're someone to witness. And he shows you this not through grand declarations, but through quiet validation. A soft glance when you speak your truth, a nod when you stand up for yourself, a warm presence when you're unraveling and unsure. You don't have to shrink around him, or explain every emotion, or in his attention. He simply sees you, the full, unfiltered, layered you, and lets you feel safe in your own skin. That kind of emotional clarity builds a rare intimacy, because in being seen, you feel held, not for what you offer, but for who you are. When a man reflects your inner world back to you with kindness, when he acknowledges both your light and your shadows without turning away, that's love on a soul level. It's a kind of connection that whispers, you don't have to be anything else. I see you. I'm staying. And in a world full of noise, that is the quietest and deepest form of devotion.